Alien Isolation is a survival horror masterpiece released in October of 2014. It's critically acclaimed for its advanced AI that adapts to the player's strategies and the atmosphere. In a somewhat recent video, I created a tier list of scary games with Alien Isolation being one of them, and it quickly became my favourite game. Although I've already played through the game once, with the announcement of the second game, I knew I had to 100% it. Most of the achievements are ones that you get by completing the missions, so I had a vast majority of these. However, I still had the hardest remaining achievements to get, including completing the game on the hardest difficulty, collecting all ID tags and Nostromo logs, not killing any humans throughout the run, and completing the entire game without dying once. Initially, I thought I would complete all of these achievements in one run, and even though I could have played on hard mode to get through the hardest difficulty achievement, I decided I wanted to finish the game on nightmare mode, without dying and without killing anyone. Obviously, I severely underestimated how hard that would actually be, so I attempted to cheese my way to get the one-shot achievement by quitting the game just before I died. Not only did this not work, but I felt like I was cheating. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to be counting each time that I quit the game as a death. So, I started my adventure as Amanda Ripley, an engineer wanting to find out more about the disappearance of her mother. I woke up aboard the Torrens, where I signed in and changed before speaking to Samuels and Taylor. Before starting the cutscene to board Sevastopol, I explored the ship to find as much equipment as possible. Since I was playing on nightmare difficulty, not only did I take more damage than in other runs, but I also didn't have a health bar, access to a map, or an abundance of resources. Once I ransacked every nook and cranny of the ship, I collected my briefing documents and made my way to Sevastopol. Obviously, we aren't wanted on board due to the alien situation, but Samuels, Taylor and I make our way there anyways, getting split up on a spacewalk over. The ship is all beat up with fire coming out of places everywhere, and I quickly saw my first dead body where I was able to collect the maintenance jack to open some of the locked doors around the ship. I then met Axel, who agreed to help me get to communications so that I could contact the Torrens, in exchange for a spot on our ship to escape the alien. On the way, Axel tells us about the alien for the first time.
There's a killer.
And I'm really not sure why, but Ripley stomps and opens lockers with a death wish for someone who knows that there is a murderous killing machine around. Axel shows us where he's been hiding this entire time and gives us a flashlight. However, soon after, my blossoming friendship with Axel is cut short and he is massacred. Now on my own, I made my way to a large open room where a lady is trying to hack an elevator to gain access to it, but runs away as soon as she notices me. Luckily for me, she left behind her access tuner, what she was using to hack the elevator, but I find that it does not work. As she comes back with her friends to hunt me down, I hid behind a bunch of boxes, which I know is a cheesy strat, but I was aiming to complete this run without killing any humans. I sneakily made my way past them into the next area where I picked up a revolver and a keycard. Using the keycard, I made my way into a room where I find a data cell that I used to fix my access tuner. However, doing so started an alarm, and while disabling it, I got my first real glimpse of the alien. With my access tuner now working, my mission was to get back to the elevator that the lady was trying to hack before to escape. From this point onwards, the alien would pretty much always be following me, marking the start of the endless attempts of this run to come. The alien luckily cleaned up the humans in the area, meaning I didn't have to avoid both the humans and the alien. So, I waited until it went back up into the vents to hack the elevator and safely escape. The elevator took me to Seegson Communications, where I was greeted by an android who was absolutely no help. I picked up a motion detector, which is broken, but I can still use it to point me in the direction of my objective, which is very useful when I don't have a map. I also found some more equipment and some blueprints for craftables that would help me in my journey later. As the androids wouldn't help me get to communications, I sneak inside where I find an android killing a person. From this point onwards, almost all of the androids are hostile, making finishing the game so much harder. In communications, I attempt to make contact with the Torrens, but find that external communication is not working. While trying to find another way to contact the Torrens, Samuels broadcasts for help across the ship, which I am able to respond to by hacking the computers at the control desk. Samuels tells me that Taylor has been injured boarding the ship, and he needs my help to tend to her. Sneaking back past all of the androids and avoiding all of the overhead vents, I am traumatized from my first playthrough, I make it back to the transit station and take the train to Symed to meet Samuels and Taylor. Taylor is in a bad condition, and of course I'm the one that has to get the medical supplies to help her. Luckily, there's a medical facility nearby where I meet Dr. Kuhlman, who tells me that he can help Taylor if I get the medical supplies. In order to get the medical supplies, which are downstairs, I first have to find Dr. Morley's keycard. Kuhlman guides me to Dr. Morley's office, but his keycard was unfortunately not there. As I continue looking for the keycard, the alien spawns from above. On my first attempt at this level, I quickly realize that the alien actually checks to see if you're hiding in lockers, and almost always sees you if you're hiding under tables. It wasn't until my third attempt that I found Morley's keycard, and then immediately died. On my fifth attempt, I got insanely lucky. After picking up Morley's keycard, I was making my way back to Dr. Kuhlman when the alien walked right by me. I really should have died, but somehow I did not. Once I got back to Kuhlman, I yelled at him for not telling me about the alien being there, and he said he would accompany me to the hospital to get the supplies. But of course, like everyone else that tries to help me, he dies. I took the elevator down, picked up the stun baton stuck in the door, which, by the way, stunning people with a stun baton counts as killing them. Luckily I looked this up before actually using it on someone. And then made my way into medical, except I didn't expect the alien to be on the opposite side of the door. This is probably why people use motion detectors. On my next attempt I made it a little bit further but ended up getting spotted under a hospital bed less than 5 meters from the door. Oh my God. This soon became a trend as I died 11 times, barely a foot into the hospital. On my next attempt, I finally decided to switch things up, and I attempted to use a flare to distract the alien. For some reason though, I forgot how to throw. All my throwing was just atrocious because look at this. Oh my God. If you didn't already guess, I died. My next attempt at using the flare did not go any better. This time, I didn't even attempt to throw it and just held it, giving away my position and dying. On my third attempt, I finally successfully used a flare, allowing me to collect the trauma kit and escape the hospital. Now that I had the trauma kit, I had to return it to Taylor. However, on my way back to the transit station, I found that the elevator that I had to take was broken, and to fix it, I needed to replace the compression cylinder. I snuck past the people also stuck in the area and made my way to storage, where I was sure I could find another cylinder. To get inside, I found an upgrade for my access tuner, turned on the power, and then powered up the nearby android who opened the door to storage for me. The android promptly died, and I was able to get the compression cylinder myself. Also, I decided to go back upstairs to the nearest save point since I now had to go all the way back to the elevator, which turned out to be not the best idea because the alien proceeded to spawn camp me every time I loaded up the save. I have absolutely no idea how people survive their entire nightmare mode run without dying, because I died 24 times in a row from the alien spawning at my save point. And even if I did manage to get past, it found me in the vent. I even used a noisemaker at one point to distract it from the noise of me crawling through the vents, but it was not distracted.
Oh my God.
The next time I used a flare, and yep, I died. My next attempt went better. I did throw the flare directly in the direction that I needed to go, but luckily the alien somehow didn't notice me sneaking past, so I was finally able to make it to the elevator, change the compression cylinder, and escape. I made my way back to Taylor, only to find that someone else was already here. Marshall Waits and his team had found us. Here I learnt two things. The Marshal and his team had a safe haven of sorts where we could take Taylor, except the transit station had been shut down, so I would have to get it back up and running before going there. And I had messed up this guy's plan to trap the alien. And of course, who's surprised, it's my job to get the transit station back up and running. I take an elevator to the security control room to turn on the transit station again. But of course, they can't make it easy for me because I have to avoid a person and then an android while doing so.
Going to space, they said. It'll be an adventure.
I died once from being shot before I was able to successfully turn on the transit station, collect a gas torch, and escape. My friends left without me, leaving me to catch up to them and make my way to Haven myself. The Marshal tells me that Taylor is in a stable condition and tells me to talk to Marlowe, the captain of the Anesidora that brought the alien infection on board.
Go talk to him.
I played through a cutscene of him and his team finding the alien planet and got my first interaction with a facehugger. After talking to Marlowe, Waits gave me a flamethrower that I could use against the alien. Then I became the bait in a bigger plan to trap the alien. Also, I ended up throwing a flare to distract these people, but they were actually friendly, so that was really embarrassing. The plan was to trap the alien in the server farm, so I sealed off 2 of 3 entrances and then made my way to the third. But as it turns out, I got trapped inside the server farm with the alien. Now, the only thing I could do was hide until someone helped me out. I tried to hide on my first attempt, except really I was just out in the open, so the alien found me very quickly. I used my flamethrower on it, but I forgot that in nightmare mode the alien is more fire resistant and the flamethrower fuel burns up quicker, so I didn't use near enough to deter it and I died. On my second attempt, Ricardo, a worker of Marshall Waits, suppressed the lockdown so that I could escape, but unfortunately so did the alien. However, since the alien was still following me, Waits came up with another plan to trap it somewhere else on the ship. I made my way to a new area, picking up a conveniently placed plasma torch from a dead body right next to a door where I needed a plasma torch to open. I made my way through the door and was told I needed to initialize a distribution conduit, whatever that means. So I flipped a couple breakers, of course dying a couple times. And then I flipped my final breaker, which is in a changing room of sorts, which is really weird for a breaker to be in there, but anyway. To finish initializing the conduit, I activated an android and flipped even more breakers. I'm not actually sure what I did there, but Waits then told me that I should head over to Project KG348. I saw this guy curled up, which honestly, that's me in this situation. And then I took an elevator to this Project KG348. The elevator took me to a lab. I attempted to restore power, but got caught out by the alien twice before I successfully turned it on. Now, I just had to escape the lab. I snuck all the way back to the entrance to the lab, only to be locked out and ejected into space by Waits. Which, I have to say, fair enough. But Ripley is a survivor, so of course she finds a way to escape through the airlock shuttle. I waited for it to pressurize, hiding in the vent until it was done, and then ran to the door. I narrowly escaped the alien and somehow made my way back onto Sebastopol. I angrily started to make my way back to Waits and found a shotgun. Now that the alien was obviously gone for good and wouldn't come back at all, I was saving all of my resources for a future mission, so I didn't use it yet. On my way back to the safe haven, I found out that the androids were now actively seeking out people to kill and would all be extremely hostile. I had to navigate through a bunch of androids, which turned out to be much harder than I initially thought, as androids getting a hold of you means instant death. Initially, I tried to throw a Molotov at the androids to do some damage, but not only did I throw it at myself, I didn't have enough resources to waste in order to kill them. My next attempt, I almost escaped, but got caught by an android on the floor that I didn't see. I did sneak past it the next time though and made my way to Waits. Except instead of the safe haven that I thought it was, everyone except for Ricardo was either dead or had run away. Samuels had run away to try get to the android core and stop them from killing people, so my next mission was to find him. Not only did I struggle to get past the androids again, but I accidentally killed Ricardo at one point. Honestly, I just wanted to test if you could actually kill friendly people, and I thought my run for not killing any humans was over at this point. Nevertheless, I moved on and made my way to Samuels. I witnessed him kill an android through a vent and then entered a boss room with 8 android statues that totally wouldn't come to life at all. Luckily, the next room over gives you plenty of EMP mines, Molotovs, and pipe bombs to kill them all, but I still managed to kill myself 5 times in a row.
No way.
I ransacked the androids' dead bodies, finding a keycard to unlock a door, and finally caught up with Samuels. In an attempt to stop the androids, Samuels had a plan to connect to Apollo, where the androids get their instructions from. But he sadly dies as he didn't have access to Apollo. I don't know how, but it took me so long to figure out that Samuels is an android. I thought he was human the entire time. Now that Samuels is dead, I unfortunately got tasked with going to the Apollo core by myself. I also find out that Taylor betrayed everyone and set Marlowe free to get information on the alien.
All data you have on the origin of that organism.
Managed to sneak my way into the Apollo core, only to find out that the androids are no longer following orders from Apollo, but Weyland-Yutani, who want to kill everyone on board to protect and make profit off the alien. I made my way below the core to escape, found an upgrade for my iron torch, and then made it to an incredibly annoying section where you're supposed to find a way to escape from this tiny room. while getting chased by an android. I really didn't feel like dealing with it though, so I killed it and escaped by lifting the car in the center of the room and going through the vents underneath. The next room had another android in it with a hazmat suit, which makes them fireproof, shockproof, and more resistant to firearms, because this whole situation couldn't get any worse. I found a bolt gun as well as my shotgun and revolver, and then I descended into the reactor core. In this mission, you have to get past 4 suited up androids, and I had been saving up all of my ammo since the start of the game until now, just to kill these things. Although, initially I tried to conserve my bolt gun ammo, leading to multiple deaths.
Are you serious?
I ended up just using it and the shotgun to kill them all and get to reactor maintenance. Instead of the reactor maintenance that I wanted, I ended up walking into the alien nest, because as it turns out, there are multiple aliens on board. My flamethrower was very conveniently placed at the entrance of the nest, and of course, instead of turning and running the other way, Ripley decided the best idea is to blow up the nest by overloading the cores. Also, I'm pretty sure this is the first mission with facehuggers, and I have to say I actually hate them. I made my way to the first core. I ended up dying twice because I was trying not to waste my flamethrower fuel on the facehuggers, but then I decided that I should just use it anyway. I overloaded the first alpha core and began to make my way to the beta core. Except there was this one spot that I got continuously stuck at. To get to the beta core, I had to go around a corner, at which point 2 facehuggers would ambush me. Since there was 2, the only thing I could do was use my flamethrower against them, and every time I killed them, without fail, the alien would jump down from the vent that was directly above me and kill me.
Oh, me bro.
Hiding in nightmare mode is basically non-existent since the alien always checks the hiding spots, and in this location the only thing I could do was hide in a locker, but the alien caught me every single time without fail.
I was holding my breath.
After 10 times of dying in a row, I finally got lucky, and instead of the alien coming from the vent directly above me, it came from one further away and didn't check my locker, giving me enough time to make my way over to the beta core. At this point in the game, you not only have to hide from one alien, but 2, and as soon as you get near the beta core, one of them appears in the room. I used a flare here to try and distract it, but I got lucky because it walked away anyway. I overloaded the beta core. Now, I just had to sneak my way back and escape. Of course though, there are more facehuggers in the way this time, and even though I disintegrated this one, it still somehow killed me. Once I was able to escape, I found that the androids had somehow returned. You would think by this point I would have learned how to properly throw something, but no, in an attempt to throw a Molotov at the androids, even though they are fireproof, by the way, I killed myself not once, but twice before I finally learned not to do that.
No way.
Then I was able to watch on as I purged the nest. Of course the story can't be over yet though, and a number of aliens escape. Ricardo leads me back to the medical facility saying that he has a plan, and I end up in a short-range ambulance shuttle chasing after Taylor and Marlowe. Somehow I end up on another ship and find out that Marlowe plans to blow it up to destroy Sevastopol and all of the aliens with it. Taylor whacks him over the head, but then ends up dying herself, leading me to run away while the ship is exploding. We also find out what actually happened to Ripley's mother. The ship that she was on, the Nostromo, came across the alien planet. After the creature killed her entire crew, she blew up her ship in an attempt to kill the creature and was last left floating in space in a lifeboat. Back on Sevastopol, the Torrens makes an announcement saying that they can take survivors after witnessing Marlowe blow up part of the ship. So now, with the help of Ricardo, I have to find a way to contact and get on board the Torrens and finally escape this nightmare. But as everyone on board the ship heard the signal as well, it's a mad dash for communications to see who will be the survivors. At communications, I find the coordinates of the Torrens and go outside of the ship to move a satellite dish and get in contact with the Torrens. Now that I finally have a way to get off Sevastopol, I just have to get Ricardo and get out. Back on board the ship, I proceed to get shot by the humans who for some reason thought to shoot me instead of the giant killer alien that is going on a killing spree and taking over the ship. I get back to Ricardo only to find him dead. Once again, anyone who helps me ends up dying. Also, I really liked Ricardo. If anyone could survive, apart from Ripley of course, I wanted Ricardo and Samuels to. Anyway, I continue on, and now I have to find a way for the Torrens to dock. You'd think at this point there isn't many missions left, but you would be wrong. I died quite a number of times.
No, you don't see me. Okay, did I drip on him or some shit? What? Are you serious?
Oh my god. And then I made it to my least favourite mission of them all, the impossible hallway. There is a number of reasons why I hate this mission, but it's mainly because of the extremely long hallway that you have to navigate yourself through. Not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 times. And not only do you have to get through the hallway so many times, but did I mention there is no place to hide in this hallway? So basically the only thing you can do is hope for the best or use any equipment on you, which I wanted to save the flamethrower fuel that I had. Also, I saw this video the other day of someone stun locking the alien using the shotgun, and for some reason I literally never thought to shoot the alien, so I probably could have done that, but I did not. I made it without too much hassle going through the hallway the first time, where I grabbed a keycard and used it on a power generator, but getting through the second time was another story. I was barely able to make it out of one of the rooms into the hallway until I randomly found a flare and used it to distract the alien and get back down the hallway for the second time. Also, can I just say I have no idea how people speedrun this on Nightmare and not die in this hallway. Like, it's literally impossible. I made it back through the hallway to the door that I had to use to escape, but who is even surprised? The power suddenly goes out and I have to go back through the hallway to restart the generator. Also, I completely forgot about this scripted alien event the first time and just straight up let myself die. Second time though, I did use a Molotov. On my way through the hallway for the third time, I was obviously sick of it and decided to use the flamethrower to get to the generator. But not only did I use all of the fuel, but I proceeded to get spawn camped at the next save, to the point where I wasn't able to access any of my equipment to even remotely save myself. So I had to reload my previous save, which luckily wasn't very far back, but still. I decided I wasn't going to waste my flamethrower fuel here and decided I was just going to leave it entirely up to luck, which left me dying over 20 times. Also, I wanted to point out this one time I attempted to hide in this hallway by leaning into the wall. Obviously this would not work. I did get insanely lucky one time and the alien didn't bother me until I restarted the generator. But at this point I was able to hide behind some tables and not get caught. Now the door for my escape would be open and I just had to make it back through the hallway. Somehow, on my first attempt, I made it through by sneaking behind the alien. I did have to use the flamethrower once, but for my sanity, it was worth it. After escaping the hallway of death, I initiated a docking sequence so that the Torrens could dock. Then I made my way to the airlock so that I could officially escape Sevastopol. Of course though, I didn't actually get to escape, and I ended up waking up in the alien nest. Somehow I continuously died to fire more times than I would like to admit in the alien nest.
No way.
You would think that I would learn from my mistakes, but throughout this playthrough I realised that I just do not learn.
Are you I'm gonna kill myself.
I also died to facehuggers a couple times, including one time where I shot it and it still killed me. I was, in fact, quite annoyed there.
Huh? What? Huh?
I did manage to get back to the airlock, prime some release mechanism things, and shoot myself into the Torrens. Of course, Ripley can't catch a break though, and an alien is already on board, leading me to the end of my run and successfully getting the achievements Survivor and Mercy or Prudence. In total, I died 147 times, but despite that, I still had the most fun playing on Nightmare mode in comparison to the other modes. Now that I had gotten that out of the way, it was time to clean up the rest of the achievements that I had missed. The main ones I had to achieve were completing the game without dying and collecting all the Nostromo logs and ID tags from the people who had gone missing. I also had to kill an android with nothing but a maintenance jack and craft one of each craftable item, which for some reason I had gone multiple playthroughs without crafting the flashbang, mainly because it didn't really feel like it would be useful. I started my next run on Novice mode, which I know is the easiest and feels like a low move, but don't judge me, I just died 147 times in Nightmare mode and I felt like I deserved a break. On my next attempt at completing the game without dying, I was way too confident. I quite literally got to the first meeting with the alien and then proceeded to run around the train station looking for an ID tag because I, for some reason, thought the alien wouldn't be here. Spoiler alert, it was. On my second attempt, I got a little bit further. I got to medical before the alien got me while I was hiding under a bed, but on my third attempt I did much better. Throughout my previous playthroughs I had collected a vast majority of the ID tags and only one Nostromo log. However, I would have to wait until later in the game to collect these, as all of the Nostromo logs and a majority of the ID tags required me to backtrack across missions, once I had unlocked all of the areas. So I focused on just surviving for now, which thankfully was much easier than in nightmare mode because I could now go back to hiding in lockers and vents without the alien checking. I cleaned up a few ID tags that I had missed, but I really just had to wait until mission 16 so that I could backtrack and get the rest. Surprisingly, I was having a bit of trouble in novice mode, solely because I would strategically make noise or use a noisemaker to lure the alien to kill people in specific areas, and then it would just not be lured. This was good though, because I didn't really have to worry about the alien too much, but I didn't want to get caught out and make a mistake. Mission 8 was a lot easier in novice mode, as I could easily take out the android and human harassing me while I turned on the tram line. This also meant that I could explore this area more and found the blueprint for the flashbang. I crafted one, completing my achievement, and then decided to test it because I wanted to see what it would look like. Soon after, as I was attempting to catch up with Marshall Waits and the team, I came across 4 hostile people at the train station. I hid in a locker and then decided right now would be the perfect time to craft a flashbang. I pressed Q intending to open up my craft menu, which in case you didn't know, you can't open the craft menu in the lockers. So instead, I ended up getting out of my locker, alerting all of the enemies of my presence. The only reason I survived that interaction was because I was on novice mode. I literally got shot like 4 times. I also got my second Nostromo log, meaning that now I didn't have to collect any until mission 16. For some reason, just before sealing the alien in the stairwell, I decided it was the perfect opportunity to get my next achievement by killing an android with only a maintenance jack. I ran around the area first to make sure the alien wouldn't come out when I was attacking it, but it did, and I did not get the achievement. I'm not sure why I didn't just wait, considering once ejecting the alien you have a small amount of time before the nest in which the alien doesn't bother you. I re-evaluated my approach afterwards, and I did wait for this to happen. I'm also not sure why I didn't just do this earlier in my run, considering it would have been a lot easier when the androids weren't automatically hostile, but anyways. Once I got the flamethrower, avoiding the alien was pretty easy, especially since I could easily find the fuel around, and by the time I got to the alien nest, I nearly had 1000. After the nest came mission 16, and my time to backtrack and collect all of the logs and ID tags I couldn't previously obtain. Mission 16 marks the point where you have access to all of the equipment you need to travel around the ship, such as the gas mask, which I required to get most of the remaining Nostromo logs. I watched a guide on how to effectively backtrack in this mission, and it was quite simple, allowing me to get the achievements for collecting all ID tags and Nostromo logs. With that out of the way, the only remaining achievement I had to do now was to survive. By this point, I still had 500 flamethrower fuel left, and the hallway of utmost doom was a breeze. There was only one moment where I was scared that I would die, and that was the facehuggers. At one point I killed one, but still heard the sound it makes when it strangles you to death, so honestly I was so scared that this would negate my run and I wouldn't get the achievement. Luckily for me though, I still did get the achievement, and finally completed 100%ing Alien Isolation.